Diversified, the Dero 22 hackathon. This video we're going to go over the DApp again, but in detail. This is our main demo, the reputational insurance demo, and as before you have the ability to disconnect with hashback and of course dark mode naturally. We can keep track of all the positions in the system, as well as Dove locked and verified carbon and the treasury balance. Now, as before, we have references to different projects with supply and whether they're over or under collateralized. So in this case, if there are 4,000 Dove, we can effectively collateralize a project with carbon against Dove, and so 4,000 Dove would represent 100% collateral. So there's some risk at play here. Now I come into here as before and I can stake 1,000 Dove. I agree and I set my term for 4 years and I can stake. My fee will be 5%, 50 Dove. I approve as before, and now we've got a position and we've got locked Dove, and you've got some value sent to the treasury which can be distributed for different needs. However, let us log in with a different account this time. So I'm going to disconnect and we're going to connect once more, and I'm going to use this other testnet account here. So we're paired, we have a small account balance, and we're just going to do the same here. Currently there is 950 staked, but I can come across here and I can add another 100 to it, and I will just want to stake it for 2 years. Eventually the risk will increase depending on the term of years, to incentivize the user to do it for longer. So now we do it again for 100 Dove. We approve that and it is completed. We have this project here that is collateralized 26% of its total supply, and this figure could be over. Like, you could have many people positioning themselves in a single project, so you could have 1,000% collateralization, which means if there's a liquidation event, you know, it's less of a hit. However, if we as a owner wish to kind of do a insurance liquidation event, we could potentially add a new proposal for one here, and this is something that we're going to be using the Galaxy DAO system for, but this right here is kind of a placeholder, and so you can suggest this is bad carbon, and the project would be, what is it, Maple Leaf Ridge here, and then we want to liquidate 10%. And so a process here could be, someone has proposed that there is an issue, we can check it out, here is some evidence, very similar to the marketplace. Now let us disconnect and go in as the owner again. So we've got this warning that we should liquidate 10% because some of the credits are bad. This time we will log in as the owner to get access to the liquidation function. So as before, we go to projects, we select the Maple Leaf Ridge, we edit, we click liquidate, and we just said 10%, which means the liquidation total will be approximately 104 Dove. Now we click liquidate, approve that, and it goes, the smart contract looks at every single account, looks at all the staked value, all the positions, and then changes people accordingly. Okay. And so thus, if I look into my unstaked value, my position has reduced because of the liquidation event. And if I remove the time lock as before, I can get more value, extract more value from the contract as my APY, because this represents a period over time, and then I can claim that back. And so hunky-dory. And if I logged in as the other user, I'll do that now. So if I disconnect and I connect once more with the testnet account, I will just show you that here, unstake, this is my value now after the unstaking process. Okay, cool. So you have that system. You can have a look at anything. You can see all these numbers change, which is exciting. But what's the kind of big picture here? Now, there are certain projects. There's Wise, there's Woo, there's Hex, and something we're going to explore here is this idea of if you're not going to stake, you don't really get anything in return because you're just looking at the smart contract. Now, this is where the big kind of vision comes into play. What if, instead of just talking to the smart contract and knowing it has a stake position, you receive wrapped Dove in return, all this wrapped representation of a contract, of a project even. And so you would have access to the amount of Dove, visibility to the underlying capital of the Dove underneath a given project for your position, the future yield, so in this case it's 25%, and the reputation of a given actor or project, which means you can carry around this asset and you don't need to liquidate it, and you can still trade it or kind of pair it on a DEX yourself. Okay, cool, that's kind of interesting. However, what if you could combine these together? So maybe this wrapped Dove here represents a farm in Bulgaria, and through this process you generate these other ones, and this could be a farm in Britain somewhere, or this could be a farm in the US. And so thus what you can do is you can combine all these wrapped tokens, all these wrapped value pointing to ESG, carbon credit, or any kind of Guardian based asset, and combine them into a single vault to produce this vault token, almost like an index fund like Vanguard, where you can interrogate every single asset underneath related to the underlying Dove value, and you've just basically diversified your risk, and you can still get access to whatever ESG elements you wish. So perhaps you are interested in soil in the north of England. Of the 10 to 20 farms that are on the platform, you could do that. You could have a vault, and then eventually with these tokens you can combine them with HBARs or Dove or any other kind of token on the network to create these markets where you can actually trade almost ESG asset funds that anyone can get access to without necessarily needing to stake and risk your Dove on a particular project. So thank you for your time. I hope it made sense. Have a chat with us if you've got any questions or queries. We've had a lot of fun doing this, so thank you for your time.